General to respond. And to my knowledge, there's never been a case where an entire state Supreme Court had to recuse, all of its members had to recuse because of a conflict of interest. So this could be an interesting one to watch. But perhaps an indication of just how far the Maryland bar prosecutor was willing to go to try to sweep all of this under the rug.
Wow, that's amazing. You're talking about how they're willing to change the rules after the fact, and of course saying, well, we're going to ignore this if it appears to be politically involved. Well, they ignored Hillary Clinton's massive security violations because of her political involvement. I mean, that's the essence of this. But, you also said...
We're living in an era of radical subjectivism. And as a lawyer, it's a hard thing to deal with because you can't advise your clients, here's what the law says, and here's what the outcome should be. Because at the end of the day, the judges are going to do whatever they want to do, generally based on their own political motives. And we're seeing that on immigration. We're seeing that with Hillary Clinton. And lest you think that doesn't affect you, anybody in court is affected by this because there is this spreading cancer where the judiciary just feels free to act on its personal whims, and the rule of law is pretty much going down the drain.
And you're talking about radical subjectivism and where it plays out in immigration. It's when a judge would come out and say, well, I think in spite of what this actually says, what this order actually says, I'm not going to pay any attention to the text of the order. I'm just going to say that I think this is coming from a bias on the part of President Trump. That's my feelings. And so I'm going to say that because of his feelings, I have different feelings, and we're going to rule in this way. They absolutely pay no attention to the law.
Right. Yeah, I mean, we're headed towards anarchy. No society can function without some kind of basic rules of operation. And and I tell this to my clients just in private practice. The most important decision is not made by a judge. It's made by the clerk that assigns the case, because the outcome of your case is not decided by the law or the facts. It's decided by the whims of the judge that's assigned to your case. That's
amazing. Let's talk about the lawless society in terms of the special prosecution, because there was a special prosecutor law that was created in 1978. It expired. They let it expire in 1999. They took it all the way to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court said, okay, we'll call it constitutional. It was 8-1. Antonin Scalia said, this is going to lead to witch hunts. It's going to be the kind of thing that Stalin did. Bring me the man, I'll find the crime. It's not going to be about a particular crime. But under that expired law, and they let it expire because they agreed with Scalia that it would become a witch hunt, which is what we've now seen with this. But under that law that is now expired, so there is no special prosecutor law, but under that law they had certain checks there. They had the attorney general would say, well, tell me what the crime is. Okay, well, this looks like there may be something here. So we'll have a 3-judge panel appoint a special prosecutor. He would have to file reports with them, and they would have reviews, and this would be a regular basis. If he wanted to expand or go in a different direction, he would then have to go before the attorney general again. None of that is happening now. None of that. I mean, where are we? We're absolutely lawless, right?
I filed a FOIA request to find out what the scope of the investigation is that Robert Mueller is conducting. Judicial Watch did the same thing, and they have denied both our requests. So at this point, the only person who knows what Robert Mueller is doing besides Robert Mueller and his staff would be ostensibly the Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein, who is an underappreciated figure in all of this. He is the one who appointed Mueller. Of course, Jeff Sessions stepped aside. I don't trust Rod Rosenstein. I've had dealings with him. He is very much a creature of the establishment, and his inclination is to protect the people in power, and I've seen him do that before.
And he was also involved in the Uranium One stuff. He had involvement there. He was in power along with Robert Mueller. And if they wanted to avoid any appearance of conflict of interest, as Jeff Sessions is saying, they would recuse themselves immediately out of all of this stuff. But they don't.
Absolutely. It's refreshing that at least some members of Congress are calling for the resignation of Mueller. They need to be calling for the resignation or at least the recusal of Rod Rosenstein. That's where the real problem lies. In fact, they need to go a step beyond that. They need to adopt resolutions like on the House floor and on the Senate floor calling for the resignation or at least the recusal of Rosenstein and Mueller. It shouldn't be just one or two members of Congress here and there.
Yeah, this is a very, very dangerous thing. And as you pointed out, this is a justice system that is rotten to the core because we not only have, as you point out, radical subjectivism, because of where the judges just rule as to what they wish, regardless of what the law is. But now we basically have these guys operating with absolutely no law for a special prosecutor, absolutely no oversight, and we've got people who have a direct involvement with these politicians that they're supposed to be overseeing, have a legal jeopardy themselves. This is absolutely amazing. Thank you so much for joining us, Ty Clevenger. And of course, you can find Ty, his blog is lawflog, F-L-O-G, lawflog.com. Follow him and educate yourself as to what's going on, and put some pressure on your congressmen to do the right thing. We'll be right back. Stay with us. I'm David Knight.